Hello, everyone, and welcome to my lecture on character and backstory development. In this lecture, we're going to really look at the first examples of show, don't tell. Now, there's standard character and backstory development. You should know your character inside and out, right? So, know your character completely. Know their mannerisms, their speech patterns, their walk, their strengths, their frailties. All of these things make up a character. And take copious notes. While you're outline your character completely. Be able to become your character so that you can write truthfully about them. However, here's a large mistake you can make. There is nothing more boring than having a book start with pages of backstory about the character in which you're not yet invested. Think about it. The person doesn't know this character yet. Why do they need to know the entire history? You need to start at the interesting part of the story and build backstory. So here are 3 recommendations as to how to build backstory. Now, we know we need to build it. We need to know these characters. We need to live them to make the story come alive. But consider some of these ways to present backstory. First, weave your character's backstory into every aspect of your early narrative. Particularly, you want to put little hints. So you're building actually tension and suspense regarding the character's backstory. Only later should you consider maybe providing asides where you write detailed backstory addressing an important part of the character's development. But that's only after you've gained the reader's interest in that character. Another thing that I want to point out is give your characters unique identifying characteristics that you can work into your story. Sometimes you can have dialogue going on and you don't have to attribute the dialogue to a particular character because they're speaking with a particular characterization or something, or that they take particular asides to puff their pipe, and only the captain smokes a pipe. So work in all of these small details to make your characters come alive. Now, I want to take a look at each of these in detail, weaving a character's backstory into your story. Consider this paragraph. Gregory was lost without his weapons and armor. But if he was to maintain his subterfuge, he would have to do without. Limping into the saloon under the weight of his heavy pack, he was annoyed to notice that he still favored his left leg, even when mounting so few stairs. Yes, the limb would seem to ache forever as a constant reminder to his last meeting with the scoundrel Bartholomew. Now consider the amount of backstory that's in here. He's just stepping into the bar, but he's missing his armor and his weapons under subterfuge. He's acting not as something that he is. He's apparently a knight, and he's limping because he's got a heavy pack, for one thing, so he must be on a journey. And he's favoring a leg, so he's added this previous injury from the scoundrel Bartholomew. Look at all this backstory that we've just built just by describing this person entering a bar. This is the way to weave backstory into your writing. Let's consider another way. When should you provide a detailed backstory? Only after ensuring that the reader is fully invested in the character's story. Is it all right to take a break for lengthy backstory? If you think about it, Stephen King had a book called Wizard and Glass. It's the 4th in his Dark Tower series. It told the backstory of Roland, his main character, but it wasn't until the 4th book in a 7-book series that he decided to tell the backstory. All along, he hinted about Roland's backstory at Gilead, his home province and so on, and how he used to be kind of a knight, a gunslinging knight. But you didn't see an important backstory of him falling in love until the Wizard and Glass story took you there. Book 4. So consider something like this. You're writing along. It was while washing his face at the stream that the memories of old began to wash over him. Ooh, 2 washes there. That's interesting. And then ... And suddenly here comes an old backstory. Brannigan was 10 years old when he killed his first man. Isn't that a way to start off a backstory? So the backstory is going to be about Brannigan killing his first man at the age of 10. That's an interesting backstory to weave in. And you're showing, right? You're showing that he's had a rough history. You don't say, he had a rough history. You show what a rough history. Killing a man at 10, that's pretty rough. So that's when to provide a backstory detail. It's okay to go into the backstory later, once you've won the reader over. Instead of opening with lengthy character backstory, instead consider showing the character's backstory through detail and description. Only after winning the reader's attention should you consider showing more of the character's backstory through what's known as a flashback, or a story that took place earlier. Give your characters identifying quirks. This is really important. Sometimes you can, as I say, you can have a character speaking without having to attribute it to them just because of their dialogue style. And here are some other quirks that you might want to consider. Have your lead character walk with a limp. I bet there's some backstory there. And spit all the time. Put all these weird, quirky little things that describe your character and flesh them out and make them real people. Your heroine has a scar beside her left eye. There's another story you probably need to tell. The bad guy talks with a lisp, which it turns out caused him to become a bad guy due to early childhood taunting. A backstory to show later. So give your characters all kinds of interesting quirks. Flesh them out. Make them real. Make them unique. Up next, we have world building, which is more show, don't tell, and working it into the story about the world, not the character. I'll see you there.